we go, video number 2 on going over the example of how to construct a table and a graph for a function rule. So we've got a new function rule here. In the first video, I go over what a function rule is, and more specifically how to construct a table and a graph. So in this one, I'm going to dive right into constructing the table and graph. We're given the function rule of the output is equal to the input minus 3. And if you recall, the output is often represented with a y value as the output variable. The input is x, and then we're subtracting 3 from that x value. And remember, what that means is we're inputting something into a blank spot for x, and we're getting out some blank number that we don't know yet that we call y. So what I like to do is I construct that table, and in that table I have an x value, that's my input, and then I do my work, and my work is going to be evaluating in a number and subtracting 3 from it, right? So plugging in a number for x, subtracting 3, and then from there I get a y value out, and I like to add on this extra little column where we get an ordered pair out, and that's going to be what we're graphing. So let's dive into this. All right, so the first number that I usually choose is -2, and you can choose any numbers you want, but I go with the standard -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So if I evaluate or plug -2 into my function rule, it tells me to subtract 3 from it. So I'm doing -2 minus 3. What do I get out when I do -2 minus 3? Well, I'm going to get out -5, right? Or you could think of that as the same signs are happening there. Oh yeah, so you add the numbers, keep the sign, -5. So -2, -5 is your ordered pair. Sweet. So we have that. Now we go to -1. Evaluate -1 in for your input x. So I'm putting it in here and subtracting 3. -1 minus 3 is -4. So that point's going to be -1, -4. All right, so -1, -4. On to 0. We'll put 0 into this problem. So we get 0 minus 3 is the work that I'm going to show out. 0 minus 3, which is -3. And we get the coordinate pair 0, -3. So my input was 0. My output that I got when I input that is -3. Then I'm going to put 1 into this. 1 minus 3, or 1 minus 3. So 1 minus 3 is -2. The point I'm going to get out is 1, -2. And finally, I'm going to put 2 in here. So 2 minus 3. And I get 2 minus 3, which is -1. And that's going to give me a coordinate pair of the x value of 2 and a y value of -1. Now, just to show you, you can plug in any point you want here. We don't have to go -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. I'm going to plug in 5. Well, that would give me 5 minus 3. And so that'll give me 2. And so that'll be the coordinate pair 5, 2. So you don't have to stick to the original points that I gave you there. You can certainly go way off the grid. You could plug in 1,000. It's just going to be hard to graph on here. So that's it for constructing the table. Now we're going to take our points and graph those things. So let's do it. So I'm going to plot those points. Let's do that in black so you can see them pretty well. So -2, -5. So I'm going to go left 1, 2, down 5. And that's right here. So that's the point -2, -5. Then -1, -4 means go left 1, down 4. Left 1, down 4. There's another point. 0, -3. That means go neither left nor right, but go down 3. Looks like we're getting a line. 1, -2. That means go right 1, down 2. So right 1, down 1, 2. Oh yeah. And then 2, -1. Right 2, down 1. Those ordered pairs giving us directions. 1, 2, down 1. And finally, this one, 5, 2. Or go right 5, up 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 1, 2. And we see that we would get a nice line, which I'm not going to draw in there, but we get a line. So we call that a linear function. And that's all that we have, folks. That is another example of how to graph and construct a table first for a function rule. Inputs, outputs, it's a beautiful thing.